Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying positive, knocking out your work, staying busy, helping out with the family, all that good stuff, right? So today, I have a special guest. I have Miss Katerina Demov. She's our Teacher of the Year with our Middle School Achievers Program from Northwest Middle School. And she's here to talk to us about a few suggestions to help you end the year strong, especially improve the parent communication. We know how important that is. There might be some teachers having a little difficulty with some parents, and so we'll talk about all that and some good stuff. Because it's come to our attention that there are a few students that are having a little trouble focusing on their work at home. It could be, things as discipline. It can be, just too many distractions in that environment. So it's how can they zero in, focus, and finish the year strong. Okay. So without further ado, I'll let Miss Demoff take over.
Hey, Juan. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me today.
For sure, for sure. I'm glad to have you.
We were talking about just different communication ideas and tools for parents as we're ending the year. We end June 8th, and this is the last quarter. So right now, it's just about really finding ways to continue communicating with the school and the teachers to help the students just finalize their work or get the help that they need, which is the most important part, because that's something that I think we don't think about is they really do need extra help that they may not be receiving at home, sometimes by themselves or even with parents. It's hard whenever you're not studying what they're studying to really help them. So I just wanted to offer a few tips on how to help them.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Good communication tools for parents. This is some of the things that I do myself with my son. I have a student that's in 5th grade. My son's in 5th grade. He's 11, Nico. And I think with this checklist is some of the things that have helped me. And number one is just to ask for an update. Check in with the teacher. Find out if you check in with them. They should be able to provide you with more information about your student. And then the next thing is just to help them really make sure they're succeeding or they're set up for success. Look at their schedule. What kind of schedule do they need? Sometimes, right now especially, kids are waking up a little bit later. So that's something that you have to just kind of take into consideration. What kind of schedule works for your student? If you have a young child, they may be waking up really early, so their brains are nice and active in the morning. It just depends how old your child is. So it's just, I don't know, Juan, like with you've got little ones, right? At what time do they get up?
I have a little one. Surprisingly, she used to get up around 6:15, 6:30, ready to go. Now she's sleeping a little bit, waking up maybe 7:45, 8 o'clock. So it helps a little bit.
Yeah. So I mean, and that's the thing. So their schedules have changed. Our schedules have completely changed. Mm-hmm. If you have a middle schooler or a high schooler, they may be up very late. So just kind of tweaking their schedule and seeing what works best for them. But setting up something like if your child wakes up at 7:30, 8 o'clock, maybe by 9, you're starting classes or you're starting schoolwork. And that also helps you maybe regulate your schedule as well as theirs, right? So I have my son and we work together. I get him started in the morning. He wakes up a little bit later. So whenever we check over what he has to do, he knows what maybe start science first because it's the easiest for him, right? And then he wants to work on the harder stuff later. And for other kids, maybe they want to knock out the difficult subject first with your help, and then you can get started on your own work as well. And I think it's just checking what works for your family, I think is really important.
I agree. To add to that, I have had some conversations with parents about adapting. So that's exactly what you're talking about. There's some parents who still work from home, so they're able to adjust their schedule. get the breakfast out the way, morning routine, and then set a time. Okay, this one we're going to begin. I'm going to do this. We'll take a break at this time, lunch at this time, just trying to follow regular routine. However, those that still have to go, work at their job on site, that's where it can be a little bit more challenging. Where now the parent may have to actually wake up a little earlier to prepare their student for success, as you mentioned. They may have to do more things to make sure that the student has what they need so that they can complete all their assignments. So yeah, that's a great point.
And to add to that, maybe you do, like I spoke with a parent today that works until late at night. So maybe on the weekend is the time that the student might just change that perspective. Maybe on the weekend you can help them. So there's always a way to just kind of be a little more flexible with our time,
Mm-hmm.
and just look at it a different way, right? Not
Right.
just like we only do work Monday to Friday, but maybe your schedule is better to work on Friday to Sunday.
Right. I agree.
And again, just checking on your student daily, checking on your child. What do they need? Every day is going to be different, especially just life is different in general. Um, so check in on them and check on their work. What have they finished that day? What do they need to do that day? And then that, I think that's one of the key things in order so that they don't get behind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because once you start, it's a snowball, snowball effect. Once they start missing assignments or not doing some work, it's really hard to get them back on track. So checking on them daily and starting today. Maybe they were already behind, but starting today and getting that just in that habit of checking on their work daily, I think really helps.
Mm-hmm. I think
Um,
I think the teachers have been making that extra push to communicate to the parents that it's okay if they do not know how to do it or how to help their child. Some may not be too well adapted with technology. And, we're doing all this e-learning, and so the student falls behind, and it's like you said, the snowball effect, and then climbing up a mountain. It seems like so much more. I can say from personal experience, when we transitioned to this e-learning, the first few days, we were doing some of these things, but not all. And a big reason was I didn't know how to do it. That was my first time actually trying to do it, and so I was just looking at it like I don't know what that is, so I didn't do it. But okay, I know what this is. Let's do this. So it was taking the extra time to okay, let me learn what this is. Let me find out where do I need to log in. How do I do this? And that's what I was able to do to help my daughter catch up.
yeah, and I think now it's more of a we've gotten to a place where we know where things are more streamlined. Right? Most teachers, most schools have just really streamlined their process. So I think that's if
Mm-hmm.
you've probably gotten into a little bit of the rhythm, and just checking on the
Right.
work daily will really help. I think
Yep.
just the best thing you can do.
Absolutely.
And I think, and the next thing is just check for communication, email. If there's any email from the teacher, I know most teachers are emailing. Um, some of them are emailing daily, depending on your grade, on the school. Um, but at least check your email once a week. Send out an email, or I mean, check if one of the teachers has sent you an email, or send them an email. I think that's just a good habit to have, and it helps. And again, like I go by my experience, I've received an email today from my son's teacher, I decided, or it said check on Power School, right? So you can still go into Power School and check their grades, check if they're missing any assignments, and sometimes some assignments that you think you've done, which you've turned in, didn't register just because computer error, and you can go, like I said, with today, I checked my email, and I was able to see that 4 of the assignments that I thought he had done, um, actually hadn't registered, and it was a computer error. So like
Mm-hmm.
just by continually having that, again, it's all communication with these with your team, because it's a team trying to educate all of our kids now, parents and
Yep.
teachers, administration, community.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that communication is really going to help us.
Yep. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And I think the last thing that I think again will help is check on your student. And by that, just take a walk, have a talk, ask them what they need, um, go outside and get away from the computer. Our brains are really just stimulated a lot by having these screens in front of us. And little ones, little brains, imagine they're just constantly firing off.
Mm-hmm.
So just spend time asking how they're feeling, um, checking in on those emotions. How are they doing? It's really going to help.
What something I'd like to add to that too is, as parents, I think it's important for us to keep in mind that some students, they don't get everything right away. We have to remember that this is material that they are supposed to be learning at the moment. It's not material that they already know, that they're just trying to do some exams, quizzes, saying, okay, you got 100, you memorized it. No, it's you're learning this now. So finding creative ways to help them understand, to process what they're learning. We're doing math. Okay, instead of just looking at the problem, let's get the bean bag out and let's count beans. Or let's apply math when measuring our um, our butter, our flour. If we're baking a cake or something, find creative ways so that the student can process this and just not get frustrated. Have patience. I think that's really important too. Mm-hmm.
And have patience with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it's taking on um, a new role as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
also becoming full-time teacher. There's a lot of you are receiving information from teachers to teach, but it's not easy to just take that on right away. So check in on yourself and make sure you're giving yourself grace. Um, and yeah, you're using that creativity to check on the learning and on your student and what they need.
Yep.
So that was a great point, Juan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the final thing is just remember it's only a few weeks away, the end of the school year. June 8th is our last day. We also have, I think lessons will stop before that, all the work. So you'll have a little window in there for kids to just kind of ensure they have everything in. But June 8th is our last day of school, and that's not that far away.
Is there anything as far as updates on what would have been normally the end of grade testing or anything like that? Grades or just any update as far as wrapping up the school year?
Well, we won't be having end of grade testing this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've moved on now to just basically at the fourth quarter will be a pass or withdraw period. So it's either the student will participate and do the assignments and and internalize the information, and that would be a pass.
Mm-hmm.
I pass on to the next grade. Or if there's no communication, no contact, students aren't completing the work, that would be the time whenever teachers are having those conversations with a team as well as with parents to then submit a withdrawal. I'm not quite sure what's going to be the outcome from that.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that's kind of how we're doing grades for the fourth quarter, and from there we'll hear more from the state as well as our district.
Okay, that's excellent. That's excellent. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. I also wanted to offer some ideas just for healthy families. Um, they're just habits to keep your families healthy and spirits up. Habits for healthy families. Again, it was adapted from the Huffington Post, and their ideas to help families just stay active, stay healthy, and these are different things you can do together. And some of them are things that we forget. Just go outside and play together. I think this is a time where all of our schedules have changed, all of our usual just norms have changed. So getting outside and playing is something that's going to help you just as much as your child, and it will also release a lot of great endorphins to support health. Um, these are some of the things that I try and do. I'm not great at it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
so just pick one. Um, have no phone times. This is really important for kids that have phones, for us as adults. We can tend to just be there, especially when we're working from home or having to bring more work from outside because schedules again have changed. Um, and you can see just mealtime is a really good time to include children and to have some family activities. And you mentioned earlier, Juan, whenever you're doing some math or you're doing some type of activity having to do with the schoolwork, mealtime is a great time to include some of those different standards or different learnings from the classroom.
Yeah, like literature. They mention things like the main character, the setting, the plot, the climax, all different terminologies that can be used when you go take that walk outside, or you can you create your own story.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't done this lately, but of course, one of the great things that we would do is build forts and just play. We have a dog and a cat too, so they would join us.
Yeah.
So just doing different things like that, or we're in a castle, we're being attacked, or whatever it is, saving a princess, different stories. Okay, well, what's the setting? All right, who's the main character? Apply it to that. Uh, Creative ways to help
Yeah.
process. Mm-hmm.
It makes it fun, right? It brings some fun to just the whole experience of
Mm-hmm.
learning, especially learning with your parents. These are the memories that you're creating,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And that I think this is a time also that I'm very grateful for because we're creating these new memories when, oh, remember when we got to spend all that time together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you do get to be a little more creative and have a little more fun. Uh, and just organizing just yourself around just having healthy habits. It'll help all of us as families.
Yep.
Um, I think another one is my son is constantly asking for snacks. You know, it's not just a boy thing, but he is constantly asking for snacks. And one of the habits that I think helps is just having healthy snacks ready, buying lots of fruit,
Mm-hmm.
cutting it up ahead of time, having it in the refrigerator, having things just packed up already. Just you can hand it to them, or they can just go in there and get it themselves. So just thinking of snack time a little differently and offering good choices
Mm-hmm.
that are actually for us as well as adults. Um, it's a good time to do that.
Awesome.
And then the other ones we've talked about communication. Just continue talking to each other. I think it's right now. It's again a great time to really create stronger bonds. And another way to do that is wind down every single night, read together, even if your kids are older. Each one of you can read a book. When they're younger, you can still, have that extra family time reading together, winding down at the end of the night. Just have nighttime rituals. Do you have any nighttime rituals at your house?
Um, I would say reading. Well, before that, playtime. We do playtime, reading. Um, I'll tell you, we love to watch house stuff. So like HGTV or something, we might do a little bit of that, and then we talk about ideas. We're like, oh, what would you do? What would you like to do? Different things like that. And then of course after that, it's settling down, brushing teeth, putting pajamas, things like that. Just coming back together, and then yep, bedtime story. Time to go to sleep.
Yeah. The
Mm-hmm.
thing again is that those schedules, those little rituals that we have at night will really help kids. And it's just a healthy way for them to just relax. Um, and the last one is just make exercise fun. We need to get out and move. There's so many different ways to do that. Go outside and throw a ball, kick a soccer ball, play tag. We played tag with our dog the other day, which was so much fun. I haven't laughed so hard in a long time.
Mm,
Um, and we were just trying to stay away from her. And if she got on us, we were it. So
gotcha.
coming up with new fun ways to just move.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just that in itself, thinking of exercise a little bit differently and getting movement with your whole family will help us all stay healthy and happy.
Yep, absolutely. That's awesome. Awesome. Thank you very much for sharing all of that great information with us. I really hope this helps. A lot of students out there, parents. I really think it will. So, if there are any other suggestions, you can reach out to myself. Communicate with your teacher. I can strongly encourage that. Communicate with your teacher. But like I said, if not, go on our website, hispanly.org. You can reach out to me or go to our Facebook. This video will also be on there. Just anything else you need, please reach out. And we'll be happy to follow up. Again, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate you. And I love the painting you have back there. That's like the perfect background for a teacher. So that's awesome.
Is that goes handiwork. Oh,
Nice.
one last thing I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
mention was we do also have we have so many Spanish-speaking parents that are listening, might be listening to this. The school system has the liaisons available. So I think if you need any information translated or you need an interpreter, um, that is one of the resources that I think is really helpful for our community, and that the awareness that it's there and she can be used at any time is, I think, one of the or just one of the things that I forgot to mention, and I think it's really important to put out there.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that. That's very important. So we don't want to hear no and ifs or buts, no excuses. We're trying to do everything possible, make sure everything goes along.
And one really important resource that I want just the community to know that's available, we have district interpreters available for you at any time. All you have to do is just reach out to our liaison, and Ms. Martinez will get right back to you. You can email her. Her email, we'll include it, I think, as part of this conversation as a link. And I'll just let you guys know it's nmartinez2 at wsfcs.k12.nc.us.
Excellent. And so that's another great resource for our Spanish-speaking parents that may have trouble communicating or receiving information in English, or they don't know what it is, and so they want somebody from the school district to be able to interpret or translate that, right? No? Okay.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you very much again. Thank you for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Juan. This has been great.
Excellent. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.